Sure.
Speak clearly into it so
Okay.
that everybody else knows.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sharing your whole screen. So are you going to go full screen with
Yes.
this? You're
Yeah.
going to hit present right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it will go.
Okay. So you should be good to go. So let me just go close the door, and
Sure.
then we'll go ahead and get started.
Sure.
And you'll want to tell us who you're with, you know, the group and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and shut the door, and I'll go ahead and get started. Let these guys introduce themselves. Okay. For my judges in the audience, for all the judges that are in there, we'll be recording it as well so you can watch it at a later time. So, this is the end of the air quality competitions, basically. We're starting our first presentation from the groups. We'll have 2 more tonight and then 2 more tomorrow. And then Hassan will be presenting probably next week as well. So, if there's any questions, feel free to ask these guys. They're going to go over what they did, their results, and all their analysis. And we'll get it recorded so that you can watch it later as well. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Sandeep Reddy, presently working for State of Utah. And I participated in this competition as a team with name like Big Mountain Geeks. My team members are like Michael Bailey. He was the project manager, and sorry he couldn't make it for this presentation as it was like during the daytime. And we all the team members were working for different companies. Extremely sorry for that. We couldn't get an evening slot. So I was drafted in like last night. So I knew like I'm going to present it today. It's all good. I'll try my level best to give you all the knowledge transfer that I have. And my team members are like myself, then Kiran Chowdhury. She has been here from the day 1 of this competition. Michael Bailey, as I said, he was our project manager. He played a role as a project manager. Ricardo was our data scientist, junior data scientist, and Richard mainly concentrated on the health related like analysis. So that's our team basically. And we started it like very early, and we on our own formed a team, and we were all from the different backgrounds working for different companies before coming here. We never knew each other. After coming here, we got together, we worked on them. There were nights we were there working until 2 a.m. at Kiran's home. So finally we got this up and running. So it's kind of hard for integrating the team. So yeah, let me start my presentation. So basically like traffic and PM 2.5. So our main direction was to see that what the traffic is, on the roads, the behavior of the traffic, then the health related. Richard was more into those analysis. Then our main focus was how can we reduce that? It's it's always good to kill it when it is smaller. So coming to it, we were thinking about it, there were huge amount of data, but we followed the right direction. We had to, as time is always a limiting factor for us. So we did what we could, within that limited time. So let me go ahead and start the presentation. So as I said, our team goal was to investigate the relationship between the traffic and PM 2.5. What we discovered in this is during the weekdays, especially during the office hours, the PM 2.5 levels are higher. And during the weekends, it was much lesser, especially on the Route 15 and Route 80. You can get, I have the data, all those shared with our project. You can get all the data, if you want to see all that data and results, you can always feel free to email our team or Pat. You can always coordinate with me. So yeah, to provide our main objective is to propose a solution where we can minimize that PM 2.5 levels and all that. I'll be discussing more when we get to those slides. So the results actually due to the lack of the raw data on our daily traffic and participants, we couldn't get the raw data and then we couldn't get the results back, the expected results back, as I'll be showing you what all we had in our research and analysis. So our programs are all, I mean, like, most of them, as I said, was like relied on the data of like, overall commitment, like, how the as I said, like, telecommute process will be going through all those programs, like, how we can reduce the traffic overall, like, work. There are like different ways we can reduce the traffic. So that will be like, discussing in our next slides. So yeah, this is like, as I said, like, Richard, one of our developer, he conducted an analysis with the emergency visits and the like, asthma patients. So this is what we came up with our own analysis of the data, what we had available. So on the on the x-axis, we populated like, the age adjusted emergency visits up per 10,000 people. So what we found it with this, our analysis is like, with the decreased, I mean, like with the increased elevation, there were like, decrease in the ER visits. You can notice those points right in there here. So this is our linear graph, like, which is showing with respect to the increased elevation. And there were like, data anatomy, which we can see those in the extended lines, like, those lines we didn't consider. We only considered the curve, which is like, this is like 95% expected. And then here I mean, like, we were instructed, our main one of those instructions were like, we need to use all the open source technologies and all the tools that we need to. So we'll go through what we have used. Basically, like, Python for scrapping we had the data in the PDF, so we had to get those in the data. So we used like Python for download, I mean, like for downloading the files and unzipping those, the whole data. And then for Java, excuse me, like, earlier I said Python but we use Java for scrapping, parsing, like the PDF data, like, we converted all those, we extracted all the data. And then we have used like, to summarize all the data, like, the where, like, as I was telling you, like during the traffic hours, it was like more of a PM 2.5 levels and all that. So we used Hadoop Hive to process all that per hour, how much traffic at the traffic signal lights and all that. Unfortunately, I couldn't like present the graph. It would have been nice, but I didn't, like, as I said, like, it was very last minute presentation. So feel free to email us for all those. I think we already shared that with that team. So then R for displaying health data, as you have seen that graph, which we have shown, like, with the increased elevation, there are like, decrease in the emergency visits for the asthma related patients. That's what we used R for. So from where we collected the data, this like from UDOT traffic, especially like, at the traffic signals, they have sensors and all that, then EPA particulate, then the weather balloons where they have sensors in it. So these are the points where we collected the data from. So how can we improve the air quality? Like, we have all those numbers backed out, and then like, our main focus is like, how we really can like, prevent, make it lesser. So then we were like, at this point we were like stuck, and then we were like, why do we need to reinvent the whole wheel again, where there are like several states and several countries which they are implementing these programs already. So we found out like Georgia state has already like clean air campaign, which is like really quite famous, and feel free to Google it, like clean air campaign. You'll be getting a lot of at their website and all the results, good work they have done. So basically on a higher level, they have like every year they will conduct a clean air campaign week. So they will be having a like they are the ones like, basically they go to a companies and they ask for them to participate. The companies participate in that telework commute program, where like, they give their employees work from home session, like, one day a week, or like, 2 days a week, or basically they are like kind of encouraging the telecommute program. And you can see like Atlanta, almost like 95% of the companies do participate in that. So we'll see now, like, what are the advantages for improving the air quality. Carpooling, definitely, like, instead of one driving with their single car, like, if we are like 3 or 4 group people, I mean, like group of people working in the same company or like neighboring companies, that right there reduces the traffic, pollution by 25%. Just think about like 4 people and then 1 person driving a car. It reduces traffic, and then the emittents, like pollution emittents emitted by it. And then compressed work weeks and flex time. For example, we at state of Utah, we work 4 days, like 4 into 10. Right there, we are reducing the traffic, like on Fridays especially, which where Route 15 is always busy, people going to Vegas, like weekends traffic and all that. We are avoiding all the traffic. So that's one way. And then take mass transit, car, and ride sharing. As I said, like Utah has like best commute process. Like there are always tracks available, and for connecting to those tracks, we have buses available. So if we just do a little bit of research, we will be avoiding. We will be contributing a lot for reducing the pollutions. And ride bikes and use your feet. One thing I always I have seen all the roads in the downtown, they have a separate bike lanes, which Utah have invested a lot in that. So from our team, I particularly encourage you guys riding a bikes, and walking is always again, it's a good for health feature. And then care for your car, which means regular maintenance. We see the pollutants emitted whether on the old cars or repaired cars, uh, those ones. So coming to our major feature like telework, where we have discovered we can on the gas and the car maintenance, parking, especially in the down. If you are working in downtowns, and it would on an average it would save on $3,000 a year per person per car. So that's one of the things. As I said, overall you can avoid traffic congestion too. And then coming to the advantages of telework, we all can have that 1 hour of extra sleep, which I think everyone likes. Extra income, obviously, you don't spend on the gas and then cars if you don't have a car and all that. Increased productivity, you don't there are people especially I personally used to come all the way from Draper to downtown. So it used to take me 1 hour, 1.5 hours to reach downtown. By the time I reach office, I used to be tired. So that kind of increases productivity. And time management, you can manage your own time. It's not you had to be in an office at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. You can you can manage your own time. That way the overall objective is it will increase your productivity. And work happiness, there is no colleagues disturbing you, or you had to someone always coming up to you for some silly questions. You are at home, you can manage all your work. I mean, there are negatives and positives. I'm showing you all the positives, advantages right now. So as I said, all those bullet points carpooling. So as they said, once we research about our colleagues and all that, then we can contribute it, and we can reduce the pollution and all that. We'll come up with the numbers too. Then compressed work weeks, as I said, we mostly first thing is telecommute process. Then if you can't share your ride with someone of your colleagues, and then if you can't even do that, then we were compressed work weeks, where I said instead of 4 days, 5-day weeks, try to do a 4-day work weeks, or instead of coming in at just regular times from 7 to 9, try doing it early or a little bit late, and leave office a little bit late. For example, just live example, whenever I used to go back home from downtown, 5:30, 6 o'clock, that's where traffic is more. So try spending time probably you might be going to a gym or somewhere. So try, instead of right after office hours, try spending time at a gym. Then at 7:30 there traffic is less. Again, you're contributing for the reducing pollution levels. So yeah, I mean majorly this is our research and analysis what we have done. So basically our motto is on the whole, there is already a programs implemented. So we'll we are welcoming all the other team members to all the people from the Utah Geek event and all that. So join hands to our campaign. We all should actually start going to a companies, visit them, tell the importance of the pollutions and the PM 2.5 levels that are increasing in our day-to-day life. So we should encourage, like, tell all the officers, like, to participate in something like clean air campaign, like asking them for, like, encouraging their employees for a telecommute work, or like, one day we can. Then our main goal is, like, probably we should also try investigating, like, probably why don't we also introduce a telecommute week, or like, a clean air campaign week, so that, like, we'll see how those levels are, like, coming down. That way, like, we'll know what exactly are contributing to this. That is our main aim of this presentation and the main aim of our research. Unfortunately, I should have given you what Atlanta has achieved, like, within that week. We did all the research we could, like, from that 2011, 2012, 13. But what I mean, like, we contacted those people too, but what they told us is, like, it's more of a social campaign to reduce the vehicles. It's nothing has to do with the data backup. So we on our own had done some analysis, but we got, like, respective, because it's again on the weather dependent data, so we couldn't come up with the correct accurate graphs, because during that week there was rain. So I mean, like, if I show you a graph showing, like, decrease in the pollutant levels, someone might just tell me, like, there might be a rain or something. So unfortunately we had rain during that week, so I couldn't, like, show you the graph of that, which has, like, reduced traffic pollution. But definitely, like, it's gonna be, like, if we implement it, it's definitely gonna be one of the, like, we can come up with the numbers and we can show it, and it can lead to us, like, it all we need is, like, just to start that program and see if for 1 year we can just show the numbers. And going forward, like, there will be more number of people where the awareness can be created. Okay, that's all from our research perspective. And regarding the team's perspective, like I said, like, Nick and Pat has done a really tremendous job, like, getting together all the, like, like-minded people. Earlier there was, like, no one available here, like, to get these. So it definitely helped us, like, before coming to this team, we personally don't know, like, what these technologies are and what we are doing, everything. But we learned a lot thanks to them. I mean, like, from our whole team, like, we wholeheartedly thanks a lot, um, for giving us this opportunity and for bringing all the people in for the presentations on different technologies and all that. And I thank you. I mean, like, before that, any questions regarding this? As I said, like, I should have been nice if I backed my presentation with a lot of numbers, but unfortunately, those numbers were, like, weather dependent. So, any questions related to that data and all that? Like, again, like, feel forward. I mean, like, feel free to email us for the data and all that what we have.
All the judges have the data in their hands.
Okay.
The site that the House team is creating
Uh-huh.
is getting that all published.
Sure. I just shared my presentation for the website too, so it will be available, everything on there. So.
I can't imagine, did you look at how Utah and Georgia compared together as far as?
No, we were, like, actually Utah didn't have any, like, clean air programs or something like that, as far as we did our research in. So we were, like, on the whole, we were trying to see, like, what, before suggesting our own way, like, we were, like, trying to research more, like, which state has, like, there are, like, several states which has done this program already. So we are trying to figure out, like, who had the maximum success rate. That way, like, if we import at least a little bit of portion of it, and then based upon this region, we can figure out some more additional points to it, then we can achieve maximum result, like, instead of inventing the whole wheel, as I said. So that's where all those points came in. Unfortunately, we thought, like, we'd back those numbers with those real data, but they said, like, it's more of a social awareness program rather than, like, this. But if we do this, like, I think we can come up with the numbers, like, if we initiate this during this year or probably early next year, during the next summer, because the summer is already gone. So then we can back out the numbers with this. Then we can go to our organizations here, like RKL or some bigger organizations, and we can tell them the importance of the weather, like, because we are all part of the society. So I think we should all contribute it.
Did you put your data against state's findings where the savings weren't nearly as high as they expected on the 4-day work weeks?
4 day, no, we didn't put that data in there. Like, this was, like, the number which I showed was from the Georgia state. So
Yeah, because I know the state went back to the 5-day work week based
So did it answer you or?
Yeah, well, I was just curious.
Yeah, I mean, like, we didn't, because I don't think most of the like workplaces here are 5-day week, like only state of Utah, as I said, has some of, I mean, like it all depends upon the team structure where, as I said, like, first thing will be like the whole telecommute. If it's not possible, compress your work days. Like that way, like, as I said, it will definitely, I mean, like, seeing at the results. I mean, like as a common man, if I drive 5 days a week to the work all the way from Draper, it will be like compared. That's what our general analysis is. If I can come up with the numbers, I will definitely, I mean, that's where our general analogy was, like, definitely driving to workspace, like, 5 days, I'll create more pollution rather than like, 4 days. It's just like 8 trips to and fro from my workplace to home. So rather than 10 trips. So right there, it will be like saving me. Any further questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So, what, I know you don't have any results here in terms of what you were looking at from the traffic PM 2.5 and weather balloon data, but what was your approach to, or what was your anticipated approach to looking at that data? Did you have, like, what was your analysis going to look like?
So his question was related to the traffic and the PM 2.5. So basically, like, we came up with that. There are like sensors at the traffic lights, which can, like, show you the vehicle and the number of vehicles pass through that for every minute. So we calculated all those per every hour. Usually during the like daytimes, from 7 or 6 a.m., 7 a.m. till 9:30, 9 a.m., the traffic will be higher as expected, and during the evening hours too. So that's when we came up with the data, like, that's when the PM 2.5 levels, I mean, like there will be a lag because for all the air, again, we have to consider different factors. So that's where, like, the PM 2.5 levels were also like going up with the traffic, but there will be a certain lag to fill out those air particles again. There are like several technologies. Again, I'm not the person with that environmental studies background, unfortunately, but there was definitely a lag, and then it increased according to the traffics. Mm-hmm.
So is that data you have and it's not shown yet, or is that what?
Yeah, all the data has been shared in our team's slides, and like I think it will be soon available in the website, on the website. Sorry. Any further questions? Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay, that is the only presentation we had planned for today. Just a couple quick announcements. We will have 2 more tonight at the user group meeting. And then we'll also have 1 tomorrow at the same time. No, 2 tomorrow. My mistake. I don't even know my own meetings.